This is Megan Carter Orlando from the EarthChem team. Thank you for joining this tutorial on how to prepare a data submission template for the EarthChem library. You can find the templates available for submission at www.earthchem.org/data/templates. As mentioned in our other tutorials, the use of available templates found here is strongly encouraged. This is because the templates guide investigators through entering metadata needed to make datasets easily discoverable, reusable, and therefore citable. Before we start, I should say a couple of things. If you do not find a template here that fits your data type, please contact us at info@earthchem.org. We can help you figure out whether your data are appropriate for the ECL and whether you can use a modified version of an existing template, and what are the most important metadata for reusability of your specific data type. The existing templates give a very good idea of the kinds of information we think are key to data discovery and reusability, and even if you cannot use existing templates for some reason, you should still try to include as much of the same information as you can, as long as it is relevant. Whether you use the templates or not, please include as much metadata as possible. Also, upon submission, your data set will be reviewed by a data manager for metadata completeness and quality. You may be asked for additional metadata, and if you cannot provide it, your data set may still be published but may be flagged as missing metadata. So the best option here is to use an existing template so that you know what data managers will be looking for. So now I will give you an idea of what a template actually looks like. So this is just an example. It's probably very small, but you may be able to see that there are a number of tabs across the bottom of this file. The first one is the Instructions tab, and this is really the information that you need to fill out the template. It goes tab by tab, so you see there are 6 tabs, from data source to samples to data to analytical metadata to method-specific metadata, and then a tab that includes vocabularies that we would like you to use. So if we go to the first tab, you can see that this is a data set entitled Major and Trace Element Analyses of Submarine Lavas from Mauna Loa Volcano, Hawaii. This is a data set that was actually submitted by Dr. Rhodes to the EarthChem library, so this is a real data set that you can discover there. His abstract contains the location of the samples, the type of analysis done, and it lists the time as well as the names of the cruises on which the samples were collected. So it gives a lot of relevant information, includes a lot of keywords that someone might use to search for a data set like these. Then there's some information about the author. Down here he has listed many related publications and given the full citations and the DOIs, the digital object identifiers, for each of those. So this is really the data set level information, that kind of title page for the data set. The second tab is about the samples. So it lists the sample names. Here, you should provide an international geosample number for each sample. The registration of these samples is actually still pending, so there will be IGSNs associated with each sample in this data set. Additionally, there is location information, where were the samples collected, at what depth, location keywords, some lithology information. Again, not all of this is required, but the more you can provide, the better. The third tab actually contains the data, and here it lists the samples again, so all of the sample names that appear here should appear in the sample list and be described there. There is the option to add some sample preparation information. This investigator did not add much, although he did say that the sample was powdered in a mill, likely a tungsten carbide one. And then over here to the right, you see across the top the analytes that were actually measured 2 rows below that, you see the units for the measurements. The Data tab also contains this row in between the analytes and the units for each measurement, and this row lists the method code for each parameter. A single method code is a unique combination of method and lab. So from column J to column S, all of these analytes have the same method code of 1 because they were all analyzed by XRF at the same institution. So this might be actually clearer in the next tab when we proceed there. Now, loss on ignition, this column T, was not analyzed by the same method, so it constitutes a new method code. So we increment up to method code 2. Similarly, these elements here, niobium and so forth, were analyzed by yet another method lab combination. So they do not have the same method code either. Again, let me proceed to tab 4, the primary analytical method metadata tab, to show you what I mean. So here we basically have transposed the method codes and parameters, and now this is where we list the technique that was used, the instrument that was used, and the laboratory at which it was done. So here we see the first several analytes were measured via X-ray fluorescence on this instrument at the University of Massachusetts. Likewise, loss on ignition was analyzed also at the University of Massachusetts, but by a different method. And then below that, we have a series of analytes that were also analyzed by X-ray fluorescence at the University of Massachusetts, but on a different instrument. So this constitutes a new method code. If you have questions about this at any time, if this is confusing, you can always contact info@earthchem.org. Some data sets will consist of just one set of data from one method, and others may be more complicated, so we can definitely discuss. What you can also see here is that we have information pertaining to analytical accuracy and reproducibility. So wherever possible, if you have reference sample measurements or standard information, we need to find a place to put that so that others can really understand what you did. Finally, there's a method-specific metadata tab where you can also enter method-specific metadata. Again, we can talk about what is appropriate for your data type if that is helpful. This is a place for detection limits, procedural blanks, any normalization schemes used. And the very last tab is tab number 6, and I alluded to this before. This is the vocabularies tab. So here's a set of vocabularies for analytes, for techniques, for units, and these provide abbreviations for each of those and then a definition for each of them. We recommend that you use these wherever possible. If you don't find your analyte or your technique listed here, you can add it to the list and just define it. So that's pretty much it. We've gone through the tabs to see what a data submission template looks like in this case. If you have any questions, you can contact us at info@earthchem.org. When you are ready to submit, you can go back to www.earthchem.org/library and submit there. Thank you for watching this tutorial on how to prepare a data submission template for the EarthChem library. If you have any questions, please contact us at info@earthchem.org. This is Megan Carter Orlando from the EarthChem team.